Hi guys, welcome to Tarot with Running from Sugar. What I'm burning today, right here, is the gift I got when I went to the store, and it's a pretty good mixture. Here we have our Palo Santo, we have rosemary, we have white sage. We also have lavender, which I love, and of course cinnamon to bring abundance. So let me throw some of that your way, especially on this day, which is St. Patrick's Day. So I'm going to try to make this a shorter video, and I say that, and it probably won't end up being, but I may make a two-parter in hopes that I can get it uploaded. There has been things wrong with my phone again that I'm going to have to resolve in a different way again. So I've hopefully got it set up here to where there's no interference, and you know, maybe I can get it up in 2 to 4 hours instead of 33. Just saying. I don't know. Yes, Mercury's in retrograde. Blah, blah, blah. Tarot. Okay? Back to the Celtic tarot. Yes. So, this is what I started out with, because this is one of my most familiar decks, I guess. Well, maybe not. One of several. And as opposed to a lot of my new acquired decks. This is I've used this one for a very long time. Now, I did take a pause in my lifetime of reading tarot cards, but I have picked it back up quite well. And remember how much I actually just loved it. Okay, so we have the Death card out the gate. Okay, I'm not going to do any kind of... I'm going to just keep this intuitive. And we're going to read from the book since it is St. Patrick's Day. And then I'm going to talk to you about some St. Patrick. Okay? Like, for real. And I might give you an ancient druid rune, if you'd like, for good luck. Sorry, I didn't mean that to be in the camera. I apologize. My apologies. We will not be editing that out. So let me get my book here. I have got to straighten this space up because it is my smaller of spaces. However, this is where well, I mean, I can use any part of my apartment, but where I prefer, because all of my books are here if I wanted to grab one. Not that I couldn't pause. All right, we're going to move this because this is in our way, and I was trying to set my cup on tarot cards. You know, it's so funny. Until I started doing the readings on here, I'm over here like, I'm OCD as hell. So I'm over here like, oh my God, how are they not putting their cards back in the box? I don't know in other videos if I've told the memory game story on me or not, but if anybody's interested and I forget to tell, just put it in the comments if you are watching. You know, we're still building our channel here. So, sorry, I'm cleaning. I had to clean up the deck, one of multiple decks. Listen, I laugh at my southern accent, okay? So if you do by all means, or my mispronunciations, you gotta roll with it in life, right? Things gotta be funny. Alright, so we're gonna read the story. I mean, we kind of know obviously what the death card is generally in the tarot. endings of a cycle, a change. It doesn't mean an actual death. I mean, it can, but the majority of the time, it doesn't. So we're just going to read on, and more cards will tell us which is which. I'm hoping. If not, we'll do an extended and try to get clarification. I'm going to have to take these glasses off because I'm still waiting on my other ones. I have the prescription, but I have not gotten the contacts, just not my glasses yet. I mean, I did make a notation of death of someone close, relation, or a death of way of life. Okay, so maybe you're giving a rebirth right now to different habits. Because I know I'm kind of trying to do that. So, maybe that's in the energy right now. And it isn't upright. So the death card represents the end of an era or phase, of course. That the end of a cycle is now taking place. Okay, exactly what I said. It may be the relationship, the end of a career position, or an emotional cycle. It is time to mourn your losses, but be happy with your memories. Okay? It's okay to... I've had to deal with this recently, and it's probably Mercury retrograde, this part that is particularly affecting, because it's a time of reflection and thinking of the past. So, what did I just read that kind of triggered me? Mourn losses and allow yourself to move forward, and change is often a blessing in disguise. So, how is that pertaining to me? I mean, I have had to mourn my losses, and kind of rise and move on. It's, I guess, coming up this year, 2 days before my daughter's birthday on June 4th, that will be the official 2-year mark, I guess. I've been saying 2 years around. Let's get the story behind the card. Over the house fire. My house fire. I don't know, but I hope the camera angle just fell out with the Ace of Pentacles and the book stuck between the Prince of Cups and the Queen of Cups. They say everything that happens in a reading is relevant, so I'm going to mark that, and we'll go back to that after we read since I lost my page, that kind of got me. I wasn't expecting that. Anyway. I'm going to say it's Bab, the crone aspect of the triple goddess. I think the D would be silent, because it's spelled B-A-D. B, or is it kind of an H? Bob. I don't know. One day I'm taking a trip to Ireland, and I'm going to find out. That is on the agenda so much. We'll talk about my Irish lineage in a moment, because I've talked about it a little bit before. It is the aspect of the goddess that is associated with death or destruction. She is often linked with the otherworld banshee, as her wail warns of death of someone close. I don't like reading that, but we're just going to read it as it is. She is also associated with battle and sometimes ran wild as a wolf among the fighting warriors. She is believed to preside over the boiling otherworld, cauldron of death and rebirth. Okay, I can relate. Where she decides the fate of those who live. Well, I don't know about that, but of those who live and those who die. It is also believed that Bab would cause the end of the world by letting the boiling cauldron overflow, flooding the earth and turning it into a wasteland. However, death brings rebirth. And in the card, we see 4 significant issues represented. The image of the person in the card represents you looking backwards, paying homage to the past, and the good and the bad times. Did I not just say that? I think I just said that. So, validation. So obviously I said Mercury in retrograde is a good time for that. So this is appropriate card. See, it's pulling right out with the planets even, so. But I'm not surprised, remotely. Especially with all the exceptional things that are happening in our skies in 2026. Very interesting. Some of them not things that haven't happened before, so, but some of them that haven't happened in a long time. Wow, I didn't get, that's kind of caught my attention. So, homage to the past, the good and the bad times, which have to be mourned for, but left behind. You have to mourn them, but leave them behind. The present environment is somewhat bleak and unproductive. We also see the river that must be crossed. On the other side of the river, there are green pastures and bright sun rising over the horizon, representing rebirth, the future, optimism, growth, and development. It is a time to deal without standing issues, emotional baggage. You cannot move forward if you spend all your time standing still and looking back. The river represents the watershed, the letting go, which will give you the freedom to move forward, unburdened by the past or by your pain, loss, or hurt. So this is a time of grieve, cry if you need to, but acceptance. Also find tools that help you, like breath work. And as I've mentioned in a previous video, you want to do that, get up and dance. Dance causes you to have a similar reaction because of the controlled breath that it causes. Anyhow, and that's in one of my previous videos, but I'm just not going to go into that because we don't want to make this too long. Okay, so I'm not going to really... the Prince of Cups, that's, it's the astrological sign, Pisces. It's ruled by Neptune. Let's find out if there's a story that I'm needing to read, since it is St. Patty's Day. Right? The story of the card. A warrior to the High King, until I've learned to say them right. I'm going to try to, met and fell in love with Emmer, daughter of the Forgal of Willie. Menashe would have been Forgal Menashe. Forgal did not want Emmer to marry him, so he entered into secret negotiations with the High Kings. The High Kings called for him and told him that he was being sent away to Scotland to train with the famous female warrior teacher Sakatash of the Shadowy One. Forgo all hope that in his absence he, Julian, Cuckoo Julian, I think. I've tried to say this before. I'm going to have to really look it up and just have it pronounced for me. Would forget about Immer. Or that Fergal would be able to persuade her to marry someone else before his return. Before he left for Scotland, he and Emma made promises to wait for each other, no matter how long they were apart. After spending many years, he returned to Forgal's fort, and they both realized that their love was as strong as ever. Aw, does somebody have a soulmate coming in? I mean, it came between the Prince of Cups and the Queen of Cups. Oh my. Yeah. Okay, so we've got an ending. We've got the Ace of Pentacles, and it was in between the Prince and the Queen of Cups in this book. I'm just saying. So, they both realized that their love was as strong as ever. Against Forgal's wishes, Immer and he decided to leave and marry. They went to live at his stronghold, where they were separated until his death. And because it opened in the book, I don't have the card out without digging through all of them to find it. But we'll see if it comes out. I'll shuffle a little bit, but I'm not going to do too many cards. We're going to go on from there. We're going to make it short today. So, I think someone is integrating their shadow side here, from what I'm understanding from the storyline. And also, someone has a love interest coming in that's a soulmate of some kind. Kind of like true love, maybe. Okay, so, you know, the Queen of Cups gives good honest advice. She wasn't in the reverse. But you may not always like the advice she gives. Oh, hell, I can relate to this. Oh, my God. Something fierce. She gives because you know it to be the truth. Touch is an important part of her healing process. So she's a sage. Interesting. And she loves to embrace. When in a crisis situation, her healing energies are tangible, even at a distance. So someone's healing powers are tangible even from a distance. All right, we've got somebody in the collective that's got some gifts, which is not surprising because there's so many people waking up right now. I have my glasses on, so I'm not looking away from you. That's beautiful. I mean, we're gonna, I'm gonna ask if we can elaborate on this. What is the ending? But this is the past, obviously. The tower has to happen for rebirth. I mean, I have a Pisces sun and Aries moon. Plus, I was born at 11:59 at night. I am, in my own birth chart, the epitome of death and rebirth. And no matter how many times they kick me down and come back up. Stubborn. Drink your water. It helps you stay grounded and connected to spirit, your spirit. Anyway, so yeah, I'm going to go on to the Ace of Pentacles, and we're going to see what the storyline behind that is. I read this once in an earlier reading, and I don't 100% remember, but I'm pretty sure this right here is actually depicting, actually I do kind of remember, sorry, I have one of those. It's all coming back to me now. Maybe that Celine Dion song is important to someone. And I'm not even going to try to do that. Damn, what the? Y'all know I'm tone deaf. I'll sing, but I'm going to try to attempt certain things. So, the pinnacles represent money, but this represents a certain place in actual Ireland, I believe. Hang on. All right. I don't know. Music's coming to me all of a sudden, and next thing you know, I'm just like, chain, 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 chain of fools. All right, and I think that's an Aretha Franklin. I may be wrong on that. So maybe somebody is feeling chained in the collective in this reading or something, since that just randomly popped in my fucking head. And that was not anything I've listened to in a good country minute. Chain of Fools. Well, there's a lot of those around, aren't there? Oh, I thought I found it, and I went back to go back here. The pinnacles are back here. Okay. Let's write it in between lines. I knew they're back here. Okay. For some reason, I've got that bookmarked. Or I just stuck it in there. Who knows? I've got these little note cards. When my daughter was young, it used to be her drawings and stuff. To this day, you'll still find my daughter's artwork folded up in some of these books. It's so cute. From me or my mother doing it. We both did that. Maybe some writing in a book somewhere, or a piece of paper folded up in a book is relevant, since I did notate that. Alright. I really do need to go ahead and just cut through the crap and go get those glasses. Everything, forget that. Okay. New beginnings. The Ace of Pentacles represents the dawning of a new period of realization and prosperity. There may be new beginnings, not only from a financial perspective. This card can represent a whole new start covering all aspects of your life. You may be starting a new business. This not only has potential for financial success, but will also create success in all other areas of your life. All right, let's go to the story. The story of this card. In this illustration, we see the Ace of Pentacles standing in the New Grange stone. That's what it is. That's exactly what's depicted here. Okay, so that's actually a real place, which is the entrance to the New Grange passage grave. The New Grange stone, am I holding it up right? Okay. Which is at the entrance to the New Grange passage grave. Okay, I already said that once, sorry. New Grange stone, like the Ace of Pentacles, is representative of new beginnings, growth, and development. New Grange is one, I hope I'm saying that right, is one of the finest European passage tombs. The single spiral pattern seen on the stone is the oldest and most recorded motif. Wow. Sorry, I find these things fascinating, okay? It has the symbolized concept of growth, expansion, and cosmic energy for the ancient inhabitants of Ireland. Oh yes, the spiral was used to represent their sun. A loosely wound anti-clockwise spiral represented the large summer sun. The dual-centered spiral is also prolific in stone carvings. It has associations with motifs from other cultures, such as Chinese yin-yang symbol as well. My half-brother is half Asian, but not Chinese. But I find that interesting. It's still in that. I already knew that was in that area. That's about bloodlines. Anyway. It really is. Sorry, that just caught me off guard. It signifies the duality of the nature and balance. The early Christian monks, so the Chinese yin-yang symbol, used tripled center spirals in their illuminated manuscripts. The motif depicts a trinity of the spirals remaining. Notice triple. Okay, triple. These people, okay, hang on. Well, they were early Christian monks, so they would have Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Spirals in their illuminated manuscripts. The motif depicts a trinity of spirals emanating from a single source and may well have been used by the monks to represent the Holy Trinity. Okay. Confirmation much? I mean, I'm half blind. I'm not like reading ahead. I ain't got any glasses on. I had to take mine off just to see this shit. Okay? Bear with me. Chevrons resembling arrowheads used by hunters and warriors alike were a symbol of power among the Celts, which I heard pronounced Celts the other day. So I'm going to go down that rabbit hole later. But until then, I'm saying Celts. Because I like it. Until corrected. The most famous of all Irish prehistoric monuments, Newgrange, was originally built about 3100 BC and has been very well restored. It consists of a vast stone and turf mound containing passages leading to burial chamber. Outside the base, 12 of the original estimated 38 large boulders can still be seen. Okay, so I am recording this on St. Patrick's Day. However, I'm hoping it will get uploaded tonight. You may see it the day after St. Patrick's Day, 18th, 19th, I don't know, due to technical difficulties, okay? Before I go into, oh, no, I'll give you that last. We'll pull that last. Okay, so here in just a little bit, because of the Druids in Ireland and all the ancient lore, we'll pull some Druid cards. I think that was pretty clear. There is a new beginning, okay? Someone's got some love coming in, Ace of Pentacles, and we're pointing out ancient Druid places like Newgrange on the very day of Ireland, most celebrated day. It was celebrated pre St. Patrick. Okay, we'll get into that in a moment, I guess. Or no, we'll just go on in. So, yes, I put on your traditional green. I put on also my black overthrow. And for me, that's symbolism. What this is me acknowledging the fact that, one, I love wearing green on St. Patty's Day because it's just tradition. And nobody wants to be pinched. But I got Irish in my blood, so you can't be pinching me. But I can pinch you. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I need to look at that myth. That's something I did not look up. And I don't know where those freaking origins are. If you're watching, you know, put it in the comments. Whatever. So, as all of your holidays are pretty much ancient Druid, and Celtic traditions immersed into Catholicism, immersed into your Protestant King James, and just Christianity as a whole. Okay? St. Patrick is a reason why for that. So we'll start by stating that due to the previous ice age, Ireland was once frozen over, and the ground land is too cold for reptiles. They're never, to our knowledge, and they can't find any fossils, anything. There already wasn't snakes in Ireland when St. Patrick arrived. St. Patrick is not Irish. He was actually born somewhere in the UK, from what I have understood, anyhow. I may be misquoting, but we're just going to roll with it. For whatever reason that I would like to delve further down, I do know that he was originally, and I'm sure you're just going all kinds, you popping up on all kinds of TikToks and virals and weird shit, a slave. He wasn't, by all accounts, here to, probably wasn't receptive at first, because he was here to convert Ireland into Catholicism, but just not in a barbaric type way, in a merging type way, a peaceful type way, one that gave the local culture there the ability to still practice their traditions and still pass these things down from cultures. And that's why I want to visit and just hear it from the people's mouth, the stories, you know what I'm saying, of people I come from. Okay? And just, it's just a magical place all the way around, an interesting place for anyone, I would imagine. And why did I lose my train of thought? Throat chakra, mental stuff being thrown at you. Okay, yeah, St. Patrick. Oh, somebody doesn't want me telling what I'm telling. Okay. Okay. There never was snakes in Ireland. However, it made for a good storyline. But what we're not understanding is your druids, your ancient druids, which is your very first, which those pagan traditions kind of stem from, like Celtic pagan traditions. And those are the ones that your Christian traditions are based on today. He did, eventually successfully convert most of Ireland into Catholicism. However, was that crazy? Something went by fast. Anyway, just used to do that. So, distractions 101, right? So, he converted them to Catholicism in a very, I guess what one would consider a diplomatic type way, by allowing these cultural embedded, just these some cultural behaviors are just embedded in some cultures' DNA, and he kind of merged the two, leaving some of the ancient storyline there to still be celebrated, without completely, I think, getting rid of everything. It was a good manipulative tactic, really, I guess. A diplomatic manipulative tactic. Now, where it comes in. Now, this is not, if you step on Ireland, an Irishman is probably not going to tell you this. He'll show you exactly where St. Patrick stood when he cast the snakes out of Ireland. And maybe that's something he did because they needed to add to that narrative so that they could prove sainthood. So that's how that happened. However, snakes were the symbol for knowledge for the Druids. And so he didn't rid of the Druids, but he did push them underground, so to speak, into hiding. So a lot of the old ways still just wouldn't fade away. And it still doesn't. It still lives in that culture today, even through and with Catholicism. I guess, there's some things that are just so ingrained in some cultures that, thank God, it doesn't fade away. So, yeah, I wanted you to know a little bit about that. Also, it is rumored that his cloak was actually blue, not green, even though he's depicted in green. And he also used the shamrock, of course, as a symbol for the Holy Trinity, which also helped promote his cause. However, that was already something that the Druids, had already used in, for their symbology. Did I say that right? I don't know. So, these are, I don't have the book to this anymore. I do have a ruined book, but I don't have, the book to this deck, but it's got words on it. It doesn't really matter. You don't always have to even read the book. It's more about your interpretation of the cards, which is more important than anything. How are you connecting with what you're seeing for your collective? And I'm having to learn to be true to myself and do that as well. And I'm just fortunate to have other readers in my energy that is willing to say that in their videos. So maybe someone needs to be true to themselves. Guys, sorry, I don't know if it's because I do not like the glare, but you're seeing what I'm seeing. What did I just say? And then self comes out. I haven't used these cards in nearly a decade until today. Okay, maybe not a decade, but a hot minute. Oh my gosh. That was on point validation. Is it wrong that I'm like, hey, there's a beach there, and that, to me, well, maybe it's some Druid writing, because I do see the X now, and I see the two serpents. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4 serpents underground. Serpents underground. What did I just say? Confirmation. I drove the Druids underground. Are you seeing those? Let me put my glasses down. Okay, sorry. Yes, I'm getting all up in the camera now. Because I want to see what you're seeing. Are you seeing it? What does that look like? A bunch of little snakes. Maybe look like two are heading up, and then you got some little... See, because they're not connected. You can screenshot that and look at that if you like. And you see the rock with the sun. Yeah, okay. You've got your triangle and with your circular symbolization right there. The Eye of Ra, the sun god. I don't know. looks kind of maybe, it is a Celtic looking cross. It is more like a Catholic looking cross. I definitely find that cross. Look at what, okay, so we've got everything I just said depicted in this card. So you see you've got that Catholic cross, and you have the serpent trying to wrap around it. But you see it's mirroring as above, so below, as within, so without kind of thing. So the serpents, the druids, were pushed underground. And prior to that, I'll have to go back and see what I just said about self prior to even pulling this card. Because I paused and that kind of got me. Anyway. So there you go. I'm going to have to literally rewatch this one for 100% just to be able to give y'all a title. Whoa. Yeah. And then, I'm really not going to pull too much further on this. Because we could be all night long. All night. Sorry, had to. Listen, my brain sometimes functions in song. Alright. Number 20. Okay, and number 1, of course, was the self. Okay. Journey. What did we have here? We had some new beginnings earlier. We had new love. We had the tower moment with the death card. Okay, so yes, to me, that's another tower card. That's another ending. Be it real, physical death, or an ending to, not necessarily life. It could be a relationship, a career, a situation. Something's over is what I'm just saying, is what I'm feeling from this. Not something is over so that you can move on is what I'm feeling. Because you've got a journey to take. You're already mastering self. And you're learning. So, when he drove the snakes out of Ireland, it's simply stating that he drove the druids underground. I mean, I will say that he did it more peacefully. He was originally a slave, though. I guess maybe he was arrested for trying to... I don't know. I'll have to look into that part further before I even give that kind of information. I want to be 100% on what I know. And then in Irish culture, you would have a different story, 100%. Maybe that's similar. I don't know. Maybe there's both versions. But the mysticism of the druids are all over the area. Even on into, your wells. I'm from a lot of these places. Let's see. I didn't pull up the current update. Oh, okay. I'm like, why is my camera door detecting motion? Because I have a Walmart order at the door. So I'm going to have to definitely get that in a moment. Alright, so let's just get the list and read it to you guys. Originally, they pulled up 11% Scotland, 66% Europe, which is mostly lit up in France. There is, why am I not finding it? I thought I took pictures. I probably screenshot it on this phone. I know I took pictures of both. Either way, so it's like 7% here, 4% here, 5% here, 6% here of all of my Irish culture. So it's the craziest thing because my ancestry lights up everywhere on Ireland. on the island of Ireland. So, yeah, which blows my mind, and France as well, and then some specific UK, and then there's some Norway due to the Belgium. So it's a circular area, and right there on the coast where you would go on the map, that would be the Scottish part. So, but I'm from northern and the other regions. It's really interesting. I thought, how does that happen? But it makes me even more so want to delve deep into what they believe. So the only way to do that would be for me to go there and experience their culture myself. So I don't know, I'm just now getting my head back above water after the house fire and being displaced, homeless, or whatever you want to call it, during that period. But now, I'm independently in my own apartment. We're good. And one day we'll move on. So I wanted to share this since we're talking about ruins. This is not, they call it a binding ruin, but it's binding to whatever it symbolizes. And if you're binding something good, that's not a bad thing. So it has no bad connotation. It has the X and the inclusion of what I call the F looking design. Okay. Anyway, this is your ruin for give good luck. And I wrote ruin because a ruin is a talisman. A talisman is something that holds the power that it holds because of the belief of the person who has created the talisman. That is how it is by all technically described. Do I believe that they hold energetic signatures that does communicate and keep certain things away? Abso-fucking-lutely. So that's another rabbit hole you can fall down. So there you go. I'm going to hold that up. Nobody is required to use that, but it is a symbol. You can write that on a piece of paper. You can sit at your door. You could put it on your window with your fingerprint. You could put it on a glass of water and drink it. You could just put it on a piece of paper, like I said, somewhere you can see it. I don't know. Whatever you want to do with that. So there's some luck of the ancient Irish predating St. Patrick, when we still celebrated this day. So it is a day of both good and bad. I feel like, they were pushed underground. At least there's not murder stories like there are in other situations. So maybe the best we can say is, if what I'm telling you is accurate, he did it peacefully. But I would like to go visit myself, because the Druid culture is still alive everywhere and is pretty much the origin story of 90% of your celebrations. They're just merged together. It doesn't mean that it didn't, events in the Bible didn't happen. So, but I am literally saying, even your 4th of July is celebrating a Scottish something. We'll shut up and quit while I'm ahead. And I want the video posted. So, let's see. I was pulling up something a moment ago. And I probably screenshotted it on that freaking phone. Why would I do that? I'm Miss Molly. Okay. Sorry. I had something ready for you guys that I need to finish. Anyway. Okay. Since I spoke of the Druids, and I apologize for the silent period there, but I had to find this. I thought I had it screenshotted for you. Okay. So, and we've got the green and the shamrock, and even St. Patrick. He was a real character, so. This is a threefold blessing, a traditional way to honor the elements of the earth. Okay? Which, okay, that would be another story. Alright, so, for your St. Patty's blessing of the three realms. Blessing of the earth be upon you, the firm ground beneath your feet. Blessing of the sea be upon you, the deep waters of your soul. Blessing of the sky be upon you, the infinite light of your spirit. So this is one of the oldest prayers in, we say, Irish mythology when we talk to computers. Yeah, if you want the story, real stories, mythology. Where the Druids claim a spiritual connection to all things. I am the wind on the sea. I am the wave of the ocean. I am the roar of the surf. So that's what they wanted hidden, is that we are all connected energy. Science has proven this as well, but it's in all ancient teachings. We are energy source, and energy doesn't die, and we return back to source. So may you be blessed on this whatever day you're actually seeing this, because what matters is getting the story to you, for me. So I got to where I didn't butcher too many words. I think, yeah. All right, rolling with it. I'm able to do, yeah. And I'll try to do some more recordings very soon and do those with some of my other cards, because I've got a whole bunch of decks. So, all right, happy St. Patty's Day.